Who is in charge? Charlotte the princess. Being the daughter of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge can be hard, especially since everyone knows about your life. Princess Charlotte had her own important royal task to do. What did you know? Princess Charlotte, who is 7 years old, is said to have the same shy but fun personality as her grandma. Prince William, who is usually cool and quiet, lost it when he found out about Queen Camilla's shocking news. It shocked the whole royal family. How he treats his daughter, Princess Charlotte. A storm had been building behind the palace's glossy front, and when William caught Camilla in the act, the future king could not keep quiet. What does she do that you like most about her? This is what I think are the most important traits for someone in a leadership position. It wasn't just family trouble. It was a dad's honest public assessment. But what did really happen? What made William lose it? Stay tuned as we find out more about the royal firestorm. There was a threat hidden behind a beautiful royal day. The warm spring sun made the old stone walls of Windsor Castle shine a golden color. Inside the castle, the grand rooms were buzzing with the usual polish and precision of a royal event. Senior royals and close family members came to today's luncheon, which was put together to support one of Queen Camilla's new causes. They were all there to celebrate the Queen's latest cause. I'm 75 years old now, and the only person I remember being there is the Queen. There was a lot going on in the big entrance hall. There were pink, yellow and white flowers in bloom, and they gave off a light scent. Lanterns made of crystals threw beams of light across the room, shining on the silverware and china. Footmen moved slowly between tables, carrying trays of tea and small cakes, and people talked softly and politely to each other. People were amazed at how graceful and calm Prince William and Princess Catherine were as they walked into this picture-perfect scene. William wore a sharp suit, and Catherine wore a light dress that moved around as she walked. Their 3 kids, George, Charlotte, and Louis, came after them. Each one was immaculately dressed, and their manners were perfect from years of living. As a king, William walked easily through the room, greeting people and making small talk. He was used to this. It was another royal event, and another chance to show that he was a calm, steady boss. But today felt different. I swear to serve you all, king, land, and common women. Please help the king. Catherine told William in a whisper. Charlotte's not herself today. This was the first quiet warning. William's smile faded. He looked for their daughter among the king's younger children. Charlotte was usually very active, talking with her cousins and laughing at inside jokes. She was always calm. But today, she sat still and quiet, with her eyes on the floor and her hands clenched in her lap. Catherine said in a whisper, "She hasn't said a word, and she looks at Camilla nervously all the time," William said. He then looked at the Queen. Camilla sat close and sipped tea while talking softly. She was the picture of poise and confidence. It looked like nothing was missing. As planned, she smiled and nodded. But William knew how to pick up on small signs. He remembered that Catherine was uncomfortable with Camilla's sharp comments, which were meant as jokes or advice but hit too close to home. William had thought these were just part of being a king until now, with all of its difficulties and complicated people. He was scared, though, by the look in Charlotte's eyes. There was something more going on. Even though it was a beautiful afternoon, there was a quiet stress in the air, and William's uneasy feeling got stronger. William kept a close eye on Charlotte during the rest of the lunch. She didn't eat much and squished in her seat whenever Camilla looked at her. Catherine put her hand on her daughter's and smiled to make her feel better. While talking with their friends, George and Louis didn't notice. After dessert, Camilla got up to talk briefly about her cause. The people there liked what she said, so they cheered. But when she was done, the Queen gave Charlotte a quick, cold look that made William think. Even though it was short, it confirmed William's worries. Nothing was really right with the beautiful afternoon. It was just a thin illusion. He looked at Catherine and agreed with her without saying a word. After lunch, the guests would leave, and the house would return to its peaceful state. But the fear stayed with William and Catherine. A lot of people think that my interest in the early years is because I'm a mom. I believe this is more important than that. There was something bothering Charlotte, and Camilla had something to do with it that needs to be talked about. It was no longer okay to give quiet warnings. So why did Princess Charlotte pull away from the people around her? What dark secrets were hidden behind the palace's smooth walls? Let's look at how Prince William found out that Queen Camilla was being mean to Princess Charlotte. The event that broke the royal quiet. When lunch started, the big dining room was full of the kind of polite conversation and soft laughter that you'd expect at a royal event. As people sipped tea and nibbled on delicate sandwiches and desserts, they said nice things to each other. Even though there was a lot going on, Prince William was focused on his daughter, Princess Charlotte. Charlotte sat still at the table with her little hands folded in her lap. She wasn't as happy as normal, and she barely touched her food. When she was called on, she spoke in a whisper, and her usual spark was gone. The kindness and confidence she normally had seemed to be gone, and in their place was a distant silence. With each passing second, William's worry grew. When the tray was passed around, he saw Charlotte pause to grab a second scone. Usually, it was easy to ask for more, like a child should do it without thinking. A lot of people knew her for being sassy. Today, as if she wasn't sure, Charlotte's hands stopped in the air. Then, a voice that was as cold as ice cut through the noise in the room. Queen Camilla's was cold, sharp, and full of judgment. "We don't want to look greedy, do we?" she asked, her smile so thin it was almost painful. Charlotte's hand turned cold. She slowly took it out of her hand and put it back in her lap. She tried to hide by hunching her shoulders in and flushing her cheeks. Catherine reached out and put a gentle hand on Charlotte's back without thinking about it. William had heard the words, though he clenched his teeth and tightened up, his eyes fixed on Camilla. She didn't even appear to look at him. With a perfect smile, she kept drinking her tea as if nothing had happened. William lost his cool though. His thoughts were racing as the rest of the family went into the living room to have a more relaxed time. Catherine came up to me with a soft but strong voice. She touched his arm and said, "I need to check on the kids." William said yes, and was ready to go. A footman rushed to him with a secret message before they could leave. The kids were moved to the east hallway, which is close to the family room. There was a change inside William. The vague fear turned into a firm resolve. He had to know what was going on. He went down the quiet hallway with Catherine. The castle's noise died down, leaving only the soft footsteps of staff to break the eerie silence. They stopped dead in their tracks as they turned a bend near the kids' area. "Camilla is rude, cold, and full of disdain," she told him. "You should really learn your place." The words made William's heart race. "You're not here to show off. You're here to be seen and not heard. Do you understand?" The word hit him hard, like a blow. A weak, timid voice could be heard from outside the door. "Of course, I only meant to help." Charlotte it was. William's whole world stopped. Somewhere inside him, the purity of her voice turned him upside down. His mind was elsewhere when he stepped forward, ready to break in. She whispered, "Wait," and grabbed his arm, but it was too late. William threw the door open, and the sudden quiet made the hinges squeak. He could no longer sit by and let his daughter be put down and ignored. A big change happened when William got angry to protect her. He wasn't just a prince anymore. He was a father who would do anything to protect Princess Charlotte. Within the next 10 years, we planned to look into about 50 different options that could really change the way we deal with environmental problems. Our plan would have worked if we had done that. How did he stand up to Camilla's mean behavior and make a line that couldn't be crossed? Let's find out about the shocking royal battle. A father's rage broke out. Camilla and Charlotte both jumped in surprise when the heavy door slammed open with such force that it shook the hallway. Prince William stood firm and angry in the doorway. His face was as hard as stone, and his eyes were burning with anger, like a storm about to break. His voice was so loud and demanding that it filled the whole hallway with questions. "What did you just say to my daughter?" It wasn't just loud, sharp and hard to ignore. It had the weight of a father's rage. This caused Camilla's face to freeze for a moment. She lost her usual calm, leaving her expression blank and unsure. "William, I didn't mean," she said, her voice trembling a little because the sudden encounter had caught her off guard. But William stopped her and walked into the room with a strong presence. "No," he said strongly, his words clear and firm. "I heard every word." Charlotte took a natural step back because she was small and felt exposed. She was scared and didn't know what to do next, so her eyes were wide. Catherine moved quickly and softly to Charlotte's side when she sensed her daughter was upset. She put an arm round Charlotte's small shoulders, as if to protect her from the coming storm. William's voice changed at that point. It was still cold and strong, but it was now measured and full of meaning. Every word he said hit like a hammer, hitting steel. "That's not how you talk to Charlotte ever again. Can you hear me? Never." William raised his hand sharply, a silent but clear command to stop. Camilla's lips parted, maybe to protest, to explain, or to protect herself. The room went quiet, tense, and alert. "This isn't discipline," William said with a strong voice. There was a thick, suffocating silence after she said, "This is bullying, and it ends now." People nearby who were caught up in the sudden stress tried to act like they hadn't heard what was said, but it was clear they had. The weight of those words was felt by everyone nearby. The excitement of the moment spread through the castle's stone walls like flames, telling people about the news faster than any official announcement could. Camilla's normally calm demeanor broke. Her face became shaky, showing that the woman behind the trained smile was upset. "We've come a long way since the 1950s and 1960s. It's clear that there's a lot more to make." For the first time, it was clear that William's words had hurt more than anyone thought they would. William turned away from Camilla and knelt down in front of Charlotte. His angry rage turned into something soft and caring. He looked her in the eyes and gave her peace. "You did nothing wrong," he said in a soft voice that felt like a warm blanket around her. Charlotte dropped her shoulders a little and said, "Nothing at all." She gave herself a small bit of comfort for the first time that day, being aware that her strong and caring father was nearby. After taking a deep breath to calm down, William stood back up. He reached out and grabbed Catherine's hand, intertwining their fingers in a silent sign of power and unity. He looked Camilla straight in the eyes again and didn't break eye contact. He said in a quiet but firm voice, "This family may bow to tradition, but I will never bow to cruelty. Not when it comes to my kid." William had drawn a line that no other king or queen would cross. It's hard for them to be apart from Catherine, but they love and care for their kids with all their hearts. What changes are they making to royal parenting? Here are some interesting facts about what goes on behind the scenes in the royal nursery. It's very clear that Prince William and Princess Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales, care most about the mental health of their three children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Not only are they modern royals, but they are also very involved parents who put a lot of importance on mental health as a part of family life. William and Kate have both used their fame over the years to talk strongly about how important it is for everyone, but especially for kids, to take care of their mental health and keep their emotions in check. As people who give a lot of money to mental health causes, it's important for us to keep the big picture in mind as we gather here today. Why do we want to make things better by focusing on mental health? Their dedication goes far beyond what they say in public. They take this idea home with them and teach their kids about it every day. William and Kate have worked hard to make their home open and friendly for their kids, instead of putting them in a bubble of royal protocol. They think that emotional intelligence is just as important as doing well in school or following the rules of the royal family. From the start, they've made sure their kids feel safe, heard, and loved, not just respected because they are royal. They need to listen to their kids, ask them how they feel, and make sure that no feeling is brushed off as silly or embarrassing. William and Kate were both shaped by what they went through as kids. William grew up in the public eye, going through terrible disasters and a lot of media attention. He knows what it's like to be put in charge of the kingdom from a very young age. Kate wasn't born into royalty, but she grew up in a loving and close-knit family. She has brought that sense of stability and kindness to the royal family. They are working together to give their kids a more balanced and mentally healthy home life, and setting that the royal family didn't always have access to in the past. As parents, one of their main ideas is that kids should never feel like they have to hold their feelings in. George, Charlotte, and Louis are taught to recognize, understand, and talk about their feelings without feeling bad about it, whether they are happy, sad, angry, or scared. It's not hidden if one of them has had a bad day. William and Kate instead talk about it and offer their child support and advice to help them deal with what they're going through. It's not just about mental support when people talk to each other in this way. It's about teaching important life skills like self-awareness, kindness, and resilience. Today's most recognized child development practices stress how important it is to support a child's emotional and psychological growth, along with their physical and intellectual milestones. This parenting style is very similar to these approaches. Researchers have found that kids who grow up in homes with lots of emotional support are more likely to be confident, socially aware, and able to handle the problems of life as adults. The way William and Kate act shows that they fully understand this. What's most interesting is how they balance their jobs as public figures with their roles as parents. Even though they have a lot of national tasks and obligations, they are known to change their plans so they can be there for school drop-offs, sports games, or bedtime routines. This tells everyone, not just their kids, that being a parent is more important than any other job. William and Kate are raising their kids with love and strength, even though they live in a world driven by royal protocol and constant attention. Let's find out what Prince William said to Camilla in their angry argument about Princess Charlotte's pain. Have grown closer because of the situation as well. That's the point. Yeah, you and I are really connected because of what we've been through. An old man's stand at After that uncomfortable lunch, William and Camilla couldn't stand to be alone for days on end. There was a lot of anger and rage in the air that no one was saying. Catherine kept a close eye on William because she could feel the storm building. Inside him, she gently told him to talk to King Charles, because she thought that talking to an older person might help make things better. But William was sure of one thing from the start. It's likely that his dad would try to hide everything and act like nothing bad had happened. The family got together quietly at their home, Adelaide Cottage. It was a safe place away from the press and royal fans. In the quiet of the evening, this is where Charlotte finally told her parents what was going on. She told the truth that she had been hiding for a long time, and tears filled her eyes. She had been hurt by Camilla's words before. She told them that Camilla had been too loud, annoying, and much for her. The little girl said in a shaking voice that she often felt like a bother and like she didn't belong in the family at all. William's heart broke into a million pieces. The worry that his daughter would feel so small and unwelcome in her own family broke the protective father in him. William knew right then that he was done being nice. No longer will I act like everything is okay. It was time to get up, you know, not just for himself, but also for Charlotte. When William's family got the offer to Balmoral for their usual summer vacation, he wasn't sure what to do. The thought of going back to the spot where a lot of stress was building made him want to say no. Catherine told him to go, not to hide or avoid having to deal with the problem, but to do so and protect their daughter. When she got to Balmoral, Camilla smiled and acted like nothing had happened. William wasn't fooled though. He was always close to Charlotte, even when they were having breakfast, taking quiet walks through the grounds, or having afternoon tea in the sitting room. Camilla saw that he never took his eyes off of her to protect her. Everyone else did too. Everyone knew about the fight that wasn't said. Then something happened that made everything different. William left to go on a short hike with King Charles, sure that Catherine would watch over Charlotte. When he left, though, Camilla jumped at the chance. She leaned close to Charlotte in the sunroom and said in an angry voice, "You talk too much, just like your mother." That's why I wanted to start a conversation about the early years with people all over the UK. William came back earlier than planned, which was bad for Camilla. He heard every mean word. William walked into the room with a booming voice without waiting a second. "That's enough." She looked shocked when he suddenly showed up and spoke in a stern voice. William moved forward, his eyes red with anger. "You're done. You'll never talk to Charlotte that way again unless I'm right next to her. Do you get it?" Camilla opened her mouth to answer, but William quickly cut her off. "There should be no more games. Do you think I don't know what you did? My daughter feels small, embarrassed, and afraid to say what she thinks because of you. That's over now." Right then, King Charles showed up, drawn by the loud noise. It was a quiet question. "What is going on here?" When William looked at his father, his eyes were filled with determination. He said, "This ends today. Either Camilla steps back," he said, "or we do." The room went quiet as the weight of his words hit everyone. Everyone knew that after the line was drawn, things would never be the same again. But what does this dangerous fight mean for the royal family? It might be strong enough to shake the government to its core. Is Camilla no longer being checked? Will she ever be brave enough to pick on Princess Charlotte again? Let's find out what's really going on. That fear comes over me every day. After that, I think they think, well, maybe there is a way out, writing new royal histories. Not long after the problems inside Windsor Castle, the royal family showed up at a charity gala that everyone was looking forward to. This wasn't like any other show. Everyone in the world paid close attention because they could tell that something important was going on beneath all the glitz and glory. There were already rumors going round in the royal family. Things were getting more tense, and problems in private families were becoming more public. Queen Camilla was the first to arrive. Her smile was carefully timed to show just the right amount of warmth, but there was a sharp edge to her eyes. Still, she thought she had the power to handle things, keep things running smoothly, and keep her cool. It was important to her to show that she was still in charge. Then Prince William walked in, which seemed like a challenge to that power. He wasn't by himself. Princess Catherine stood next to him, calm and steady. Princess Charlotte stood between them and held their hands tightly. They moved through the hall as a fortress when they were all together, calm on the outside, but extremely protective on the inside. William's clenched jaw showed how strong and determined he really was. Catherine's soft grip on Charlotte's hand was a quiet promise that their daughter was safe. Charlotte herself seemed to have changed. Her eyes had that sparkle back, and she was slowly gaining back her confidence. As Camilla got closer, her smile changed into something that tried to look like kindness. Because, after all, political correctness is a very bad way to control people. "Darling Charlotte," she said with a hint of fake sweetness, "how lovely to see you here." Charlotte didn't answer. Instead, she leaned in close to her dad, hoping that he could help her feel better. While Camilla said hello, William didn't answer. He looked into her eyes with a quiet focus that made her move in a way that she didn't like. It looked like everyone in the room was holding their breath. Every moment was caught on camera. There was a change in the mood, so reporters whispered, just the right amount of cracks in the smooth surface of royal manners. Let the truth shine through. After the photos were shared on news sites and social media, one picture stood out. Camilla looked uncomfortable and far away, while William stood strong next to his daughter. It was impossible to miss his helpful presence. The official news stories were safe. Behind the scenes, there is strain in the royal family, but people who know better knew the truth was much deeper. King Charles pulled William away at Balmoral, the family's summer home. "Son," he made a low sound. William didn't move when his father looked at him. "This could destroy everything we've worked so hard to build." "Then let it tear," he said firmly. "While I'm here, I will never let customs show that being cruel is okay." That moment sent a strong message. William was more than just the king-to-be. He was a dad first. Elizabeth found William reading Charlotte's favorite book while they were away from the cameras and the drama at the palace. They were at Adelaide Cottage. She joined them quietly and watched as their daughter smiled again. After the kids were asleep that night, William turned to Catherine. "I think I may have gone too far. It might have even shocked my dad," he said softly, "but I don't regret it." Catherine firmly squeezed his hand and told him, "You didn't go too far. He did exactly what a loving dad should have done." In that quiet moment, everything became clear. A new rule was made by the future king. It wasn't based on cold titles or quiet pain, but on love, safety, and telling the truth. Things were always very clear for William. No matter what the crown asked or what the press said, his daughter's honor would never be in danger again. What do you think about William's response to Charlotte being picked on by Camilla? Fill out the form below to tell us what you think. Remember to like and subscribe.